Do you remember when we worked in Brooklyn? It was like one of the first salons we worked at. And she had the vibe as a leader of we're best friends.
Well,
we're family.
You know what's funny is you said that, and I was
you
like,
didn't know which
I didn't know
who
which
we were talking
one.
about.
I know which salon you're talking about. But yes, now I do.
Very first, the OG.
Yes.
Where we shared a chair, but we were both like building.
Yes.
So like it was like
it was it was
that's it. You said enough.
It was triggering.
Yeah. Especially if you have parental trauma, which I feel like most millennials do.
Let me start here.
Okay.
We both have very different family situations. Yeah. I was raised by a narcissistic mother, to the point where if she heard me say that on this show, she would celebrate the fact that I even mentioned that I have a mother. So if anyone else has a narcissistic parent, or maybe you don't know, but I can tell you the symptoms of having one, they don't have any personality of their own, so they latch on to other people, and they usually latch on to a child or a spouse, and they will actually mimic and repeat the things that you do. So like, if I got a dog, my mom would get a dog. Or if I started dating someone, my mom would start dating someone new. If I moved, my mom, she would just kind of mimic what another person did that she thought was successful. And so you never felt like anything was yours.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't, if it was your birthday, it was her birthday. So like you couldn't celebrate.
It was her son's birthday.
It was her son's birthday.
Yeah.
It wasn't my birthday. So like everything in your life was kind of, the energy was just sucked out of it. And they also have scripts. So when they're mad, they say the same thing. When they're happy, they say the same. Like there's no real personality or experience going on. So like it got to the point where I could actually, when she got mad, I was like, I could mouth what she would say before she would say it. Because it was always the same thing.
Now imagine that person that you just described owning a business and being in charge of multiple people.
Being your boss.
Yeah. And then you, as the stylist, also have your own trauma.
Right.
And then they're preaching this, we're family.
Yeah. No.
Come play with us.
That's what it feels like. It also feels like, and like with a narcissistic parent, you're family when things are good, but then when things are not good, you're worst enemies.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember working not only for that salon, but many other salons where the owner had really extreme narcissistic, I can't say narcissistic.
It's okay,
narcissistic tendencies.
Just the narnar.
The narnar. And I want to be clear, narcissistic tendencies are not the same as someone who has a lot of ego. I think people think narcissism is like they're full of themselves. Narcissism is actually like they don't actually have an identity.
Yeah.
And so they are like a child. They're mimicking everyone.
Yeah. So like when we're saying like someone's like, oh, like we're just a family in a salon, like a leader is saying that, sometimes it's true. I would say a majority of his ego, but then there's sometimes it's like.
And
narcissism comes in and ride that wave.
I've just worked with so many people where you're family when things are good, and when things are bad, you're garbage, which is what it's like growing up with a narcissistic parent. And so then you're like, you're just constantly kind of triggered by that environment. And that is a natural salon environment. Yeah. Unfortunately.
I think we do it too because like, obviously it's like, imagine that person and you're just like, hey, Bethany. And they're like, no, honey, call me mom. Call me mom. And it's supposed to be sweet, especially I grew up in the South.
I don't like to be called boss. I like to be called mom.
I just want to be just call me, I'm mama. I'm mama bird.
You know what I have to say to people that don't want to be called boss? Don't own a goddamn business.
Don't be a boss. And don't be
Can you imagine being on a plane and the pilot going like, don't call me the pilot. Yeah.
Call me dad.
John. Call me dad. Like, I don't want my fucking dad flying the plane.
That's my point, is that and then we do it, like sometimes like the staff will do it to their boss. Like, oh, they're like a mom to me.
That's sick.
Until they're not.
That's sick.
until they're not. And that's why we have to leave this verbiage outside of the business. You can care about someone. You can have a mentor. You can have someone that like feels parent-like in the sense of guidance.
But they're not your parent.
Yes. And
they're not responsible for you.
But when we start to switch it and we start to, they're like a mom to me. No, they need to be your boss. Yeah. Because the minute you switch it to your mom, you're going to relate it to your mother.
It's
or your
also
father,
unfair.
or whoever raised you.
I mean, sometimes our team calls us mom and dad, and I'm like,
we're like, stop it.
First of all, I'm not your dad.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to call me anything, it's daddy, but it's not dad. I do not want to be called dad. I do not want to be responsible for your life. I do not want to be someone who I'm not the person that you need to like mirror and grow up to become.
You're not in trouble every time you talk to me.
You're not in trouble when I call you.
Yeah.
Stop putting me in that position. I fucking hate it.
Well, that's what I said. I think, honestly, yes, I do think there's egotistical, narcissistic leaders out there that will be like, call me mommy, call me daddy. But then there's freaking the stylists do it. And we all have trauma. Even if you didn't have a bad childhood, there's something triggering about some moment in your life as a child with your parents that you will never forget, and it shows up.
I hate the word trauma. It's like,
I know,
we've ruined it.
And then
we just talk about it too much.
Everyone's traumatized. Like, we're all fucked up, okay? But that's my point. Like, don't make it weird. Like,
yeah, like when you work for someone. I know that we usually make fun of the salon owner, but the hairdressers out there are like looking for moms and dads.
They are. Because they're looking for support.
Yeah.
Like I said, mentorship, guidance.
This is my second family. No.
They want to be held accountable.
It's where you work.
But it's actually really harmful to their own self-growth by putting that responsibility on someone else's versus owning that responsibility. Owning that they're going to guide themselves. It's one thing to have someone to like bounce ideas off of. Like that's why having a coach is so great, because they're there to help you go through your own thought process with the situation, but you are still making the final decision.
Exactly. I especially in coaching, we did another episode about this with, how to choose a coach to replace your husband. But I think when you go into coaching or you get a new job or you have a mentor or you have a boss, that if you start to see tendencies of family-like behavior, it can be, forget about your trauma or the harmfulness, the dynamic it creates it gets messy. The boundaries get weird. And if you're like me, people like you don't want me to treat you like I treat my mom.
Yeah.
We're not very nice to each other.
Also in families, it's very rare that a family fully is transparent, emotionally intelligent, like everyone can communicate to each other. Most of the time things get swept on the rug. So when you have that kind of family mentality in your salon, in your workplace, you then become this things, I'm mad at you, but I'm not going to tell you because we're just going to sweep it under the rug to keep the peace.
Yeah, you start to do family-like
and it starts to get that's naturally, the dirt's going to pile up and it's going to fucking explode. And when that happens, that's when shit goes real bad and everyone's to blame and you're fucking pissed and you're just like, I'm out of here. And then you're like, what happened? How did that lead up to that?
When hairdressers leave salons and salon owners get so worked up about it, it's because, and by the way, you can not use the family terms and still have that energy. And I know that no one's going to want to hear this, but even our students who know not to use this type of vocabulary, they still have the mentality that we're family, because when someone leaves, it feels like an abandonment and it feels like they've been taken advantage of. When someone leaves, you should be celebrating it. You should be happy. Even if it was bad, you should be like, yeah, they were an employee. It didn't work out. They went somewhere else. It's not emotional. It's not an emotional.
We make it so emotional.
The salon industry is like...
It's a good thing. If someone's like, I'm going to make a career move and I think I'm going to go open my own suite or I'm going to open my own salon.
I taught them everything they knew, like a parent.
Yeah.
It's like, well, first of all,
I made them.
Oh, that's a narcissistic parent.
I made them. I gave them everything.
You have everything. Yeah. I sacrificed my entire life for you. That's that.
I paid for education. You should do all those things.
Yeah, I'm also... It's like when parents are like, I paid for this. And it's like, bitch, you had me. It's your job to pay for that shit.
Yeah. I gave birth to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did we get there?
Yeah. Yeah.
How'd we get in that situation?
Hi, Carrie. Why are we here? And I think that like all these situations in salons are all the emotional nonsense is from family bullshit. Family-like bullshit.
You know, I'm sure I can hear people listening, hopefully new people, and they are like, well, I love them. I love our team. I love our coaches, but we're not friends. At the bottom line, we're working for a collective reason where, you know, there's respect. I think that is more important than
there's respect, there's
friendship, and like there's respect for each other, they're in their careers, in what they're going through. There's empathy, there's care, there's, you know, like I think that transcends beyond family.
I would much rather be respected than loved. Is that weird?
I think love for me, love comes
so the love that people try to give is not the one I'm looking for.
Got it. The smothering love. It's
I had that.
I'm gonna love you so you like me.
I'm gonna love you, and you better fucking love me back. That's if you don't, and if you come at me with that,
I don't love you anymore.
I'm gonna just
which is
lock you out. But I think if someone respects me, I feel a love.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say.
And it's a really intense, like, feels good. It feels boundary oriented. It feels right.
Yeah,
and it's just that to me is like it's still love. I think it's a higher form of. And I don't like love with obligation. I don't owe you shit.
I think you're holding each other accountable too. And I love that. Like, I love sometimes, like, I love that
You love love?
I love love.
I love love.
Fucking love love. I love that I can go to our team and be like, this is not okay. And I also love that they can be like, I don't like this. You know? And there's like, okay, like, let's talk about it.
My favorite is when someone on our team doesn't like something and I go, okay, we're still going to do it.
Yeah. We're still doing this.
Yeah. It's not personal.
It's not personal, yeah.
And I think trying to curate.
And that happens in salons. The salon owner will be like, I want to charge for time in the salon. And the stylist will be like, I don't like that, and throw a fit. And then the salon owner will not do it. And the bottom line is both parties are right. You are allowed as a business owner to implement anything that you want in your business, and you have the right as a stylist to leave. And I think that's what people forget. And it does suck sometimes when someone makes a change in a business that you do really enjoy being in, and then now you're not on that same page anymore. But that's also called growth.
It's also called grow the fuck up and get over it.
It's also called grow the fuck up. It's called I'm growing. I'm doing me.
Yeah.
And you doing you.
When salon owners will say, why do I have to keep telling adults to clean up after themselves?
I know.
Why do I have to keep telling adults to do A, B, and C? I'm like, because you're treating them like children.
Yeah. And they're going to act like it.
And they're going to act like
always
children.
will revert to that.
We're all just children.
Seriously.
With big
Have you ever
bodies.
talked to a 90-year-old? They're like, I didn't even know
my
it was
dad,
that.
When my dad turned 60,
it shocks you.
I asked, when he turned 60, I said, do you feel 60? He goes, no, I feel like 25.
Yeah. But your body feels.
Yeah, he's like, I'm slower and I get tired more, but like, he's
your
like.
Your brain stays there.
I don't feel 60.
Which is why, as I get older and more, like, I'm maturing out of my, I'm in my 30s, but like, as I started to grow up out of my childlike state, you put so much weight on your parents of like maturity and you forget that now that we're their age, you're like,
yeah.
Okay, things make a little bit of sense.
You're just adult children too.
Exactly. So I think too, when you really look at them and you're like, oh, I get it now. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Everything starts to click that like, I feel like the older I get and the older my mom gets, I'm like, are you a teenager? Like, what is happening? What are these decisions that are being made? And I want to say, I hope I don't do that to my kid. But, I'm sure that I will absolutely.
You will fuck them up.
For sure.
But going back to the salon, we all try to get out of this family thing, but we've all had this experience. And so we go to our next salon or we open a salon and we do the same shit.
Yeah. And we all want community. So it naturally, you're going to want to fall into this. You have to fight it. It's going to be harder to not have this.
I hate the term safe space.
Yeah.
And I really don't care if people hate that I hate that.
Because it's never safe.
And it's also like
informative.
I'll do what I can to make it as safe as possible. But also, if you don't feel safe, it's on you, boo. But the whole safe space situation, I think people confuse that with we have to love each other.
Yeah.
I think it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I think the safest space is mutual respect.
Respect.
And no, we don't go out for drinks every 5 minutes. And no, we don't.
That's when it makes it unsafe there.
That's unsafe.
Because you're not coming from the same backgrounds. Like, ugh. We should do a whole episode on that.
What?
That topic in general.
Safe spaces?
Yeah.
It's coming up.